All right, and so we are now live, and we will see some participants entering soon. And yeah, I have chat open as well. Okay, so wow, we have early attendees coming in. Hello, Shafira, and welcome to our little webinar, and we're happy to have you. I believe there are more people joining soon. Thank you for being early. Hi, Andrea. Good morning. I hope you're having a good Tuesday morning. Everybody thinks it's Monday. Unfortunately, it's Tuesday. Hope you had a good Memorial Day weekend. Hi, Zach. Long time no see. That's a familiar name. Good morning. Where are you guys all joining us from? Andrea, Shafira, and Zach, where are you guys joining us from? I believe everybody can type in the chat anytime. You might not be able to do very much other than type in the chat, but later on we will be having the question and answer session as well. Hey Zach, you just went to Thailand. Wonderful. I hope you had a good time having all that food. Where in the US are you at, Zach? Oh wow, Florida. That's right down Alley's alley.
Hi, I'm in the Orlando area.
Good stuff. All right, we are just about at the top of the hour. We're just gonna give a couple of minutes for a couple more people to join us. Typically, this webinar starts at 3 minutes past the hour. Hi, Paul. Nice to see you. Where are you joining us from? Hey, Humphrey. It's good to see another familiar face. Well, name rather. Humphrey, are you still in California? I think the last time we spoke. All right, we will be starting in just about 2 more minutes. So we'll just hang in there to see if anybody else would like to join us live today. For everybody's benefit, we will be recording this session and we will upload it to YouTube and all our social media channels. Please feel free to share those links with people who would benefit from it. Today, we will be talking about the state of e-commerce in 2022 and how you can prepare yourself for what's coming in the world of e-commerce. And we are joined by Kevin. Good morning, Kevin. And hello, Jeff, as well. Nice to see you guys. Nice to see a nice crew of people here. And if you'd like to ask Shom and Ali questions about how to growth hack e-commerce and what's to come, we've got two of the most well-known juggernauts in the e-commerce industry who are here to share their views and share their ideas. And hello, Kim. Nice to see you as well. Right. So we're now just about to start. And hi, everybody. My name is Anne, and I'm the CEO and founder of Supercharge Lab. And today we have with us two of the most amazing women that I've had the pleasure of knowing and meeting. In fact, one of them, Alley, I just met literally days ago, and Shom has known me for years. So allow me to introduce both of them. Somdutta Singh is the founder and CEO of Assiduus Global, and a member of Indisapora. Somdutta helps people to scale their businesses across global e-commerce marketplaces such as Amazon, Noon, Walmart, eBay, Etsy, Myntra, Shopify, Lazada, you name it, she's done it. And during her time with Assiduus Global, she has helped to scale 50 Fortune 500 companies and over 100 SMEs in 10 marketplaces across 5 continents. Assiduus is disrupting the e-commerce industry and ecosystem, helping D2C brands with seamless access to multiple global e-commerce platforms, with dynamic and real-time insights on competition for better decision-making, deep insights through category-based analytics, pricing automation modules, and cross-border, cross-marketplace onboarding. Well, Alley Hassen is the founder of her own brand, Alley Hassen. She's a Shopify partner and e-commerce digital marketing expert. She helps people to level up their Shopify customer experience through paid advertising and marketing optimization, as well as supports SME owners to become confident in their digital marketing plan, so they can stop trying to keep up with social media and online marketing tactics and the crazy number of algorithm changes that we've been seeing, especially in the last 4 weeks. Today, we're going to be speaking a little bit about the state of e-commerce in 2022. We will have a panel discussion and then open up the floor for some questions from our audience. Of course, I will be moderating today's conversation. And if you have questions, please feel free to type it into the chat or raise your hands at any time during the conversation. But first up, ladies, thank you so much for spending time with us on this subject today. You know that e-commerce is an industry that is always changing. Things are always happening. There's new platforms coming up in marketing, in the marketplace, with AI, with warehousing, with robotics, with IoT. Trends are consistently changing, and obviously change is the only thing which is consistent.
True.
To shape the way that people in every corner of the globe consume and purchase products, which makes the future of e-commerce absolutely exciting because it impacts every one of us. A lot of big things are expected to change in e-commerce over the next couple of years. And in this discussion, we want to break down some of the top trends in e-commerce for 2022 and discuss what we believe would be the most impactful changes over the next few years. And obviously, most importantly, dissect why these changes are going to happen and how they're going to impact us. Let's kickstart this conversation with you, Shom. So you know that there's always been this made in China thing where people used to say, okay, we're gonna buy from China and sell it in a different country. Now that has changed significantly. Emerging markets are playing a huge role in e-commerce. Tell us, what do you think? Are the new places which are burgeoning, which are up and coming, and how do you think things will change in the world of global product development and sales and selling?
Absolutely. Firstly, Annie, such a pleasure to be with you on this show. And, a very, very good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all your listeners today. I think what you're talking about is so pertinent, especially post the pandemic. The e-commerce industry has seen the highest amount of growth and traction, including has seen close to 70 billion in investments from institutional VCs and private equity just in e-commerce alone, right? Which is insane, right? The money has all flown, whether it's logistics, whether it's warehousing, automation, AI, cross-border acceleration, like you name it, people are just pumping in money because one, e-commerce is data-led. So, you're building something in AI, the whole power is the data. Consumer-led, because at the end of the day, if you have data, you know what your customers want, you're able to upsell, cross-sell, monitor them. And then comes product innovation. People are now reverse engineering. And I'm going to answer the China question. And why I'm talking about reverse engineering is people are now not launching products and waiting for it to be successful. They're actually identifying the demand first. They're looking where the gaps in the market is. So if someone is saying that in the subcategory of sexual wellness, there is demand, they're actually launching products to cater so they know they're going to do well instantaneously. When a consumer is launching a product, they always are looking at where is my lowest COGS, right? Where is my lowest cost of goods? China has predominantly played as the biggest supplier to the global economy when it came to any kind of productization, from fashion to consumables, you name it, China has to offer it, right? Because of the massive market, the intense amount of manpower and discipline, they've been always able to deliver a lowest cost of goods at the highest optimal value, right? However, during the pandemic, what countries like India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Brazil, including GCC, I'm in Dubai right now, and there is intense amount of manufacturing setups that has been set up within the region because they do not want to wait, one, for a very long logistics timeline, because you know how logistics got deeply impacted during the pandemic. So freights got impacted, logistics got impacted. So everything is now about in-country production. And especially the developing countries that are coming up, like in India, Bangladesh, where labor is cheap, Pakistan, where labor is cheap, they're trying to become the production hub to manage Southeast Asia and global demand. Turkey has become a huge, huge supplier to many, many economies across the world, especially when it comes to GCC and when it comes to Europe. Portugal has now become the most predominant fashion production hub because, again, very cheap, quality, they have become the suppliers to massive brands. So there is a huge shift from make in China to make in India, make in Bangladesh, make in Pakistan, make in Portugal, make in Turkey. And this shift is going to happen more and more because now everybody's trying to figure out about self-sustainable economy and production pattern, where you will find the lowest possible cost of good, highest possible return without compromising quality and reducing time to reach. That's why these regions are showing such value for money.
Absolutely. Alley, it's undeniable that, online shopping is far outpacing the sales of, your regular mom and pop or even brick and mortar stores. How do you think, brands today are keeping up with this crazy growth of e-commerce?
Sure. So to Sham's point about just everything becoming more global, and we saw such a big boom during the pandemic, and how to sustain those results is, I think, now a very big question. So there's a couple of things that I think online brands that do support brick and mortar stores can do. One of those things is we are still in a mode of expecting shipping times and product times to actually be more extended if we're not ordering something that has an overnight delivery. So customers are actually getting more used to the thought of this is going to be available in a few weeks. And how can you communicate that with a lot of transparency to people who want your product? And to your point about third-party logistics and where is the manufacturing happening and these timelines that look a little bit different than they did pre-pandemic, what brands can do in my space, which is a Shopify specialty, is you can set up a store and start selling in a pre-sale fashion. As long as your third-party logistics partners are set and square and your shipping profiles keep you profitable, you can do more of a pre-launch or pre-sale or coming soon type of selling in order to not only keep your business profitable, but start ongoing conversations with customers. So what does that look like? Your social and your content marketing and your email marketing and your ads can communicate from a place of anticipation and getting excited for a buildup. And that no longer feels like you're tricking anybody. It's actually more to benefit transparency between you and the customer and bringing them along in that journey. And the brands that are going to shine, Shopify has released a report for 2021, 2022. Sustainable and social conscious brands need to show up and need to show up authentically. And the prices of those products just isn't low. The prices of affordable textiles that are sustainable, or the prices of textiles that are sustainable, aren't low. And so communicating value and having a lot more transparency than I think people were previously used to with e-commerce is going to be really important. And because of social media and because of customer reviews being so important for conversion optimization, if your products aren't truly sustainable and your products aren't truly socially conscious, like as a brand, you're not going to last. So I think that in terms of what can you do to communicate something new and different and kind of go a different direction than maybe some people who are doing the same thing in a time where we want to keep the results or try to match the results of 2020 that were in 2021 that had been so great, is look to how you can communicate what's coming and be transparent with your customers and your brand about timelines, about delivery, because we're used to it. And we actually value that, hey, you're a business and you're a human on the other side who's planning and has the customer in mind.
Absolutely. So are you seeing changes to consumer behaviors? Ali just mentioned a lot about, authenticity, connecting with the values that, individuals are aligned with. How do you see this changing the way we use technology as well in e-commerce?
Oh, Annie, like Ali said, right? Today, the power of technology is informed decision-making, right? There is so much content that is available online at the disposal of the consumer, that they're no longer just buying based on what the brand is saying. They're validating it. And that's why the concept of authenticity, AI-based authenticity, AI-based decision-making becomes so powerful. So what you essentially you are doing is that you're allowing technology to become the enabler for any decision-making. There's a reason people say Dr. Google, because everybody searches on Google first before they even go and see a doctor. So what you put out there cannot be contradictory, one. Two, you have to remember something. If something is on the net already, it's never going away. So you've got to be very, very cautious of that. Consumers research everything. People don't just buy because the price looks good or the packaging looks good. They're looking at keywords. They're looking at the headline. They're looking at the communication, and they're going back to social media and trying to validate that. Then comes the product experience. So when you may lure the customer to buy from you once, but remember, the repeat purchase behavior only happens when there's authenticity. And technology plays a very critical role to map that. Like, I'll give you an example. When we ship out goods from our warehouse, everything goes with a QR code that actually says scan for authenticity. It does, because when you're consuming something, you want to know if the product is authentic, right? And the QR code allows you to validate and map the product, know the ingredients, even before you open it, so you know, hey, I got the right product. So there's a huge market of fake products for big brands. So it's very, very critical to ensure that your consumer is getting the right product, especially if you're doing fulfillment through an accelerator like us or doing it yourself. So what Ali said, and with what you are trying to do in terms of mapping technology and mapping consumer content, is the only way to keep the legitimacy of brands stay and create impact. Otherwise, there's so many private label brands, you really don't know what you're getting in, right? It's just one time or it's a lifetime. So that's how I differentiate.
Absolutely. Ali, you work a lot with Shopify stores and smaller e-commerce brands. How do Shopify-based startups, so to speak, how do they differentiate themselves? How do they set themselves apart in a landscape where algorithm changes can kill entire businesses? How do you help them become different or stay ahead, so to speak?
Sure. So that's such a great question. And actually, a lot of brands who are doing a lot of sales in brick and mortar are actually new to the Shopify game. And so that's interesting because they need to translate what is happening in their flagship stores to an online experience. And then brands who are new to market, period, or are only online, I help as well. So from a Shopify point of view, what I focus on with brands is their customer experience. And when you think of customer experience, that's easy to translate in store when you can train staff members to do X, Y, and Z, and that's part of the brand and the process and experience. On an online platform, every online platform, and specifically speaking Shopify, I ask, what can the platform do out of the box? And a lot of brands will come to me already having maxed out their experience level with, this is what I can make this platform do for me. And that's true on Etsy, that's true on Amazon, that's true everywhere, is you kind of max out your ability as a business owner to operate your store from an out of the box point of view. So that's where I come in and look at your customer experience. So customer experience and conversion rate optimization. So how is your landing page? How is your copy? Are you communicating before somebody purchases your product and after somebody purchases your product? Are like ease of use on mobile and designing from a mobile first standpoint is still really important, and people are still not really executing that to the best of the ability, and that can be shown in their conversion rates. And then from an average order value and a repeat or lifetime customer value, looking at tools that can increase those numbers and test everything that the analytics are telling you. So from a Shopify standpoint, something that I want to tell everybody is that you will get to a point potentially where you've kind of maxed out your ability or tolerance for creating and running your business, and you've done it all, right? You've tested a bunch of things. So somebody who's a Shopify partner or interested in helping your marketing needs to be able to look at how can we increase conversion rates and where are people falling off. You can do that with a variety of apps. You can do that with Hotjar and looking at where are we not transacting. And so to answer your question, I think that the customer experience online is very important. Are we bundling your products? Are we looking at a subscription? Are we communicating new products? Are you a one SKU brand who needs your website to operate so smoothly? It's like a living, breathing thing, or is it static? So depending on the brand, the answer is always different, but having a really good stack of apps in your Shopify store from the backend side, having a really good stack of apps that is kind of prescribed by somebody like me can help boost all of these things. But without somebody, with your results in mind, you may be kind of shooting in the dark a little bit until we find the right combination of resources to do that for you. So some popular resources right now would be Recharge, any of the landing page apps that can help with customizing your pages further to tell a story, testing your pages, so Shogun, Pagefly. Those are some of the popular apps. And then of course you want your content marketing through email to look great. Klaviyo is one of the top email content marketing services that can help support that. So to go back to my original point, what I want Shopify brands to know, or brands considering coming into Shopify, is you want to create a customer experience. Throwing up a web page and expecting sales to come flowing in is not going to, your competitors are doing better.
Absolutely. Those are really great and practical tips. Alley, one more question about marketing, especially because you spend a lot of time dealing with e-commerce brands who are trying to market themselves. This whole concept of the ideal customer profile, and I know it's a very broad question because it differs from business to business, whether it's services, products, B2B, B2C, B2B2C, or the variations of all that. But how would one go about identifying their ideal customer profile and testing it, more importantly, to see that indeed is actually going to convert?
Sure. So testing it, I think I mentioned this earlier, but testing with Hotjar or looking at your Google Analytics, anything that can provide data for you is essentially not going to lie. And the data should direct your decisions, not just based on trying to keep up with a trend or trying to continue doing what you were already doing. The data can lead you in the right way. To kind of answer your question on the brand avatars, if you are new to discovering your brand avatar, I kind of have an unpopular opinion that are you your brand avatar? And if you are, that's okay. And that's the right answer. So start there and map out some of your key wants, needs, problem solutions. Digital Marketer actually had, and I'm in no way affiliated, but Digital Marketer has some great resources on establishing your client avatar, customer avatar, that I would recommend to any business owner. Additionally, to kind of turn it up a notch, is map out how does your customer feel before they have your product and how do they feel after that you have their product, and not from like a mild standpoint, but from a very extreme standpoint of what are what are they missing? What are they missing out on? What are they longing for? And then how do they feel afterwards, truly? And no thought is out of the range for what your customer wants. So I really think that mapping those things out and having those in mind while you are building and while you are looking at data is really important.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Ali. Shom, right back to you. I know that you've been in this whole technology space and you've seen a lot of things come and go. But what's to come? What are we looking forward to in the next 1 to 3 years? Specifically, with the boom of Web3, blockchain, AI, virtual reality, IoT, you name it, it's out there and it's been applied to e-commerce. But how's the market gonna change? Number one, and number two, more importantly, for large e-commerce companies, are they going to consolidate and dominate, leaving the little guy out of the picture? What do you think?
So you asked me 3 very, very good questions. First is how the role of technology with all the new age technology that's coming in is going to disrupt e-commerce, right? If you see, the adoption of new age technologies in e-commerce has been the most pertinent and the most dominant, right? Like what Shopify started with, like Ali's talking about Shopify, what Shopify started with just being an enterprise, which means that becoming the go-to creator for SME brands has now become pretty much a plug and play, like do anything you want. Like it's on steroids, right? Pumping up the machine, making anyone offline go online, create tools to be able to accelerate business. From using IoT to now, they're planning to even make you pay in Bitcoins. You can pay through crypto. That is going to become a huge change. They're going to enable you to start, like, especially platforms like this are going to start playing a role in metaverse. So they'll start creating consumer experiences on metaverse and then bring you into the leading shopping store to finally do the fulfillment. So now you can actually hold virtual content and virtual products, which then you can convert on physical products. Like that's going to be a big disruption. Something that you're building, and I think, and I immediately see there is an impact in what we are doing, right? We are an e-commerce accelerator. What do? We take brands global. We manage their entire distribution and supply chain, and we do it through tech. 10 years back, did you hear people doing distribution through tech? You couldn't hear it because there were no APIs to integrate on marketplaces that could allow one brand sitting in the United States to sell in 14 different countries through a distribution channel without them having to spend a penny. All they have to do is send their products to our warehouse in one geography, and then we're distributing in 30 plus countries. So, and that's all happening through tech. That is the power of technology, right? Now, the brands are sitting at home and looking at a dashboard and analyzing data, saying, Oh, so I have a lot of consumers coming from Southeast Asia, especially Laos and Cambodia, which I never thought was possible. So let me now use someone like Alley to push content in those regions and customize content for that consumer, because that's where the conversion is coming from. You are now using AI to actually analyze not only the target geographies, the user behavior, the repeat purchase, you're upselling and cross-selling products based on consumption pattern. That's all happening through tech. How beautiful it is. And think from a brand's perspective, how they are making their top lines so much more richer. We have Unilever as a client. Now, how big is Unilever, right? Why would Unilever need an Assiduus? Because Unilever was dependent on traditional distributors and wholesalers who gave them no data. They said, we now don't want to just build our own brands. We want to start acquiring brands, right? If I want to acquire a brand, I want to have intelligence. So the third part that you asked me, will the small brands go away? Never. The small brands now have an acquisition story. There is a Thrasio in US. There is a Goat and a Mensa in India. There is an Opuntio in GCC. There is a Cellarex in Europe. Roll-up brands are becoming the norm. So all small brands will either get into a roll-up brand or will become a part of a house of brand like a Unilever or a Reckitt or a Procter & Gamble. Brands are growing only through acquisition and mergers. So the smartest thing for a brand to do is to have an exit strategy. I always did that. With every company I've built, I've always had an exit strategy. And the exit strategy is get the right partners to build great content like Alley, get the right tools and technology using what you're building, and that is what you need. And then great accelerators like what we do so you can go global. Save your bottom line as much as you can through partnerships and collaboration so you can mark up your unit economics and make more margin. So it's easier for you to get acquired at a valuation you want. So if you see how the story ties in, it's all together. Technology is enabling more and more entrepreneurs and allowing house of brands to make better acquisitions. And it's all happening through informed, data-driven decision-making. Simple.
Excellent, excellent. And that's really, really good insight, Sean. So to wrap up a little bit of the discussion, so I'm going to go into the most basic question. If I were a tiny little brand with a revolutionary product, and you've probably heard this line a gazillion times, what piece of advice would you give to me? Let's start with you, Sean.
I think the first and the most important thing is to do a product market fit. The greatest innovations have failed if there is nobody to consume those innovations. That's something to keep in mind. Everybody has a great idea. And what is important is, are there buyers for the great ideas? So to do a product market fit is the first and important thing. Second thing, don't burn all your money. Go for a revenue-based financing model. Today, there are enough and more companies to fund you. You don't have to go to institutional investors or bankers. You can go to revenue-based financing models where, based on the inventory that you are pumping in, you can actually get funds to support that. So you're not burning everything that you have. Third thing, content is the king. It's only great content that survive. Look at what Goli did. We work with them. It's all about content. It's all about attention, perception, and ultimately that's what leads to creation. Authenticity is the fourth thing. Commit to what you're going to deliver. Don't overcommit and underdeliver. And the fifth thing, which I call is like the fifth pillar, go cross-border. You don't just make money in one region. You got to make money in every region because somebody is going to consume your product. If it's not United States, it may be India. If it's not India, it may be GCC. If it's not GCC, it's Japan. But there are takers everywhere. So you cannot be just in one region. I think those are the 5 things I'm going to share.
What about you, Alley?
So I would definitely say take advantage of early opportunities. And like you said a few minutes ago, the algorithms are changing, but not only are there algorithms changing, the way and features and which buttons to push and how to share, which is really important for people who want to get their product out there and make it shareable. So one tip I have in terms of your content marketing is on social media platforms, take advantage of new technology and new tools. And so in the metaverse or in the Facebook land and Instagram land, Look at opportunities. I'm telling you, if you are one of the first brands to have try-ons available with virtual reality or trying on new gear, anything that pertains to something that somebody could put on a VR headset and try on or see how it would look in virtual reality, you are going to accelerate far beyond people who are not ready to test that level of new technology. Secondly, I would say that if you are going to jump into sustainability and social conscious spaces, you have to do it authentically, because just saying, you know, showing up one time for social good is not going to cut it. And you might want to bring somebody in who can actually be your second eye on what it means to be an eco-friendly business. You can think of something, you know, go to the grocery store and say, this is healthy, or this is USDA organic. Like, your messaging needs to be on point if you are going to tap into some of the markets and spaces that are going to be very popular with consumers. Additionally, early adopters to TikTok and TikTok ads are still seeing amazing results. So if you're a business who is not on TikTok, I would suggest spending some time learning how you can get there. If you're a business that does not have the face of a brand, of your brand, you want to put some dollars into finding micro influencers. You don't have to spend tens of thousands of dollars to get your product in somebody's hand, so that they can, you know, spread the word about what is great about your product, that real humans are using it, and build trust. So early adopters with content on TikTok, it's still time to get on there and show up before your competitors are. Additionally, with TikTok ads, if you are in a specific location, you will have some options in TikTok to have ads in your region. But what's different about TikTok ads and Facebook ads, one thing is that you can only advertise in a specific region based on each business manager account. So for TikTok, if you want to reach other regions, when you start a TikTok account, you can reach in your region. If you want to reach in other ones, get into TikTok ads. You can still get under $1 cost per click if you are doing it even close to right. And I think that's a really great place to invest some time, again, to get ahead of other people in your space.
Great. Those are absolutely golden nuggets of advice for everybody. So I noticed that there are quite a number of questions in the Q&A. So I'm gonna start off with Shom. So Kim says, we sell a wellness device, a personal version, and one to use in a larger room. Only 2 devices, and we hear so much about lifetime value, LTV. But unless they're buying it as a gift or a second location, there is no need or reason to purchase a second device. Do you have examples of effective strategies to encourage referrals?
Amazing question. And I think Kim has been a super active participant. You know, she's been listening very closely and keenly, and she has some phenomenal questions to ask, because I love the second question as well, that content is the king and distribution is the queen. So for content, you need Alley. For distribution, you need Shom. So you're sorted then, Kim. So but the first question, you know, whenever it comes to electronics or any devices, remember something, right? They buy, and usually the lifetime value of the consumer is upsell and cross sell. So it's not about just their buying for their room or their device. The question is that you have so many consumers that are coming online, new set of consumers that are buying, or people who are moving from offline to online, that there is an insatiable need for new products and innovation. Now, what happens, unlike health, personal care, and consumables, where there is a monthly recurring need, for electronics and devices, it's either 1 time, 2 time, 3 times. So what you have to do is you have to have an omnichannel strategy. You cannot just depend on online alone. Electronics have always, devices have always succeeded with an omni-channel strategy. So you've got to be present in the stores, you've got to be online. That's where you see a lot of upsell and cross-sell happening. The other thing, which is very important, is to be in all the rebate platforms or coupon platforms. For example, the likes of Rebate Key or Rebate, they play a significant role in bringing back a user or referrals. They are great platforms to do that, and that works phenomenally well. So one of the things to keep in mind, especially when it's a tangible device, it's not a consumable, there is no monthly recurring need. You've got to be very, very prudent about having an omni-channel strategy. So yeah, so that's pretty much what my inputs are gonna be. And referrals, again, if you're not omni-channel, it doesn't work. But rebate platforms, coupon platforms work phenomenally well for upselling and cross-selling. I hope I answered the question, Kim.
Great. And as you rightly said, I believe Kim has asked the second question, where content is king and distribution is queen. Why don't we start with you, Alley, on content is king?
Sure. Speaking specifically to your need in the electronic space, I would say if you have a customer base and they've experienced your product, they've had time to ask you questions about your product, I'm wondering if another strategy could be that you have a 2.0 version of the product, again, to sell to a customer. Once you've gotten feedback, you've basically created a testing group, incentivize or bring them along your journey in some way to get some feedback, and potentially there's a 2.0. Additionally, if you are selling a product that you feel like is one and done, you can look at bringing in, you could do some private label opportunities with other supporting accessories that would make a beautiful bundle, and then you can bundle and save, and as long as you're finding profitable ways to do that, that could be a strategy you might want to tap into. In terms of content marketing, the best ads, in my experience, are ads that have reviews. So spend some time figuring out how you're going to get UGC or customer reviews built into your ecosystem. So with Shopify, that could look like Judge Me, Yotpo, or you can literally ask, manually in a letter from the founder in an email flow that goes to your customers. But getting customer reviews is going to be another, almost like a referral. Like 100 people have had a great experience with this product. This is what they did with it. This is what they said about it. And that content can be repurposed everywhere. If you get a picture of somebody in a review, that could be used in Instagram, in your feed, in your stories, in ads, in reels. So the repurposing opportunities with reviews and testimonials is actually really high, and a great place to put some time into building that into your ecosystem so that you get reviews after a customer has had time to experience your product. And you can even have a funnel of, hey, you are loving this product, or you still have some questions. So if they still have some questions, they can get in contact with somebody in customer support of some capacity. And if they love it, they're provided an opportunity to write a review.
That is great.
All of that is content.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I think that that is really, really a good snippet there for Kim. Shom, what about distribution?
Of course, I love that, how she got both Ali and me into the same question, right? I mean, those are some phenomenal inputs, Ali. We see our customers do that all the time, and it is all about reviews. It's all about customer engagement. And I love the fact of 2.0, because Kim, let's not forget how Apple makes their money. Come out with a new product, same thing. I shouldn't say this, but same shit, new packaging. And that's what works. Because there's a beautiful book I read a couple of years back that all marketeers are liars, and then the liars are crossed, and it says storytellers, because it's all about the story, right? You believe in the story. And even Steve Jobs said once, the consumers don't know what they want. You make them believe that this is what they need, and that need is insatiable, and they'll keep buying from you. So to cut this story short, Kim, this is what I'm going to do when it comes to distribution for a product like yours. I'm going to go omni-channel, and I'm going to do cross-border. The reason I'm going to do omni-channel is because very important to have a physical device to touch, feel, because that creates a long-term consumer experience, and that also allows you to upsell and cross-sell. That appeal creates a new dimension, and it will lead to more and more sales for you. one. Two, why cross-border? Because the takers are many and people are constantly looking for innovation from different geographies to experience. If you see Apple's largest sale, of course, happens in China and in India, not only is the consumer base big, but also aspirational buyers. So I would never rule out multiple geographies distribution. And of course, please do connect with me. We do cross-border distribution, happy to evaluate it. Through Annie, reach out to us. That's the whole purpose of this particular webinar, is to connect the dots, make people meet, accelerate opportunities. And yeah, hopefully you do phenomenally in your business, and wish you the very best.
Great. Look, so Alley, you talked about TikTok. Consumers aged over 40, are they on TikTok?
Yes. And as the platform matures, so are consumers, and they'll be there. Some examples that I would not take lightly are there's mom talk, there's cleaning talk, there's organization talk, there's Excel spreadsheet talk, there's insurance talk, of course, there's realtor talk. And these are all conversations that, people in 25 and older maybe might be having. So I wouldn't underplay the potential on TikTok. With any organic platform, you don't want to be one note. So for people who are interested in selling via social media in general, let's not show up and put a flyer up every day that says, buy my product, it's really good. You want to be coming from a place of educating your customer, to Sham's point about a problem they didn't know they had, and now you have a product that they want. So educating a customer, providing an entertainment level for your customer, and then reaching to different points that align and are relatable with your brand. So in an apparel space, for example, there might not be a ton of education opportunities. So go heavier on the entertainment side. If you are a brand that seeks to fulfill a very specific solution, educate on how you got to this point and why your product will fulfill the need. So with TikTok, it's short form video. If you can explain one way I like to help people, like, what am I going to say on TikTok? I don't know what to say. I don't understand the trends. I'm not ready to dance yet. Is if you go on your website, you've put a lot of time into putting content on your website. You have an about page, an FAQ page, a service page, you have product pages. Like, those are all pillars that you could translate into short form video. And if you're wondering how to do that, find yourself an interesting sentence to say first that attracts attention. That's called a hook. Deliver the value that you want to say, which is the meat of the content that you've put into your website, and then give somebody a call to action. And on social media platforms, that can be as easy as follow for more, like this video, or share with a friend. Those are some ways to formulate some results for getting on TikTok. I don't think that it has to be as scary or intimidating or feel like you have to dance. Putting value out there and showing up and talking is actually going to skyrocket your results more than trying to do what everybody else is doing or what you think they're doing.
That's great stuff. Thanks, Alley. I think we have one more question, and this time from Paul. Welcome, Paul, to the Q&A. And Paul is asking about digital products because he has an ebook on improving and keeping good to great credit scores and credit reports currently on Amazon. So how would you promote a digital product? So I'm going to pass this to Alley first, and then over to Shom after.
This is a great example of a product that actually you want to show up as an authority on, and building a presence on TikTok will give you the ability to show up as an authority. And what does that mean? It means you have studied this topic, you have plenty to say, you have tips, tricks, know-how that people are looking for. So one way that you can do this, kind of a DIY approach, is pull up a Google page and start typing in keywords pertaining to Google search. Type in keywords pertaining to what you're teaching. If it's about credit, you said, correct? So type in, how do I improve my credit score? When you do that, Google will give you a series of additional questions people are searching for on the search results page. So you'll get some answers, you'll get some ads, you might see a video or two. And what you can do is look at those questions that Google says other people are also asking. People are also searching for this. Those are your hooks for your content marketing. So whether it's short form video like TikTok, or you need a caption that helps explain more about what you are an authority on, use that trick to come up with some ways to market your material and show up on video.
Great. And Sean, what about you? Do you look into digital products?
Of course, I'm going to say from my personal experience, Paul, I'm an author myself. I have 2 published books, one of which is a bestseller on Amazon. I published my first book in the year of 2018. Before even an ebook version, it was it was in a hard copy version, and exactly what Alley did. So I have a great amount of Instagram followers. So what I started doing was creating a lot of content that allowed people to connect with the book. Because it was a book on decoding digital, using digital tools and technology for ventures and products, I wanted to build that content. That's the first thing. The second thing that I did is I looked at the keyword search data on Amazon itself, because that's where you're selling. Remember something, that even when people convert on a book, they're always looking at a problem solution approach. The way they convert on any information, or they're looking for content, is by that, unless it's a very, very famous author that they want to go and buy from. So those keywords embedding in your listing is really, really important. And keeping a tab of books and authors in the subcategory who are promoting similar kind of books is very important. The third thing is meta tagging. So if you want people to move or convert from your social channels or Google channels onto Amazon, so you can do that as well. So those are phenomenal ways of allowing people to convert. But as an author, unless you publish content yourself and you're seen as a carrier or the mascot of the book itself, there's not going to be a lot of resonance. So Paul, you got to kind of, shine to the mantle, be out there, talk about it. The more content you create, the more conversions you're going to get.
That's great advice. Ankit has just asked a question. Hi, Shom, you mentioned about Omnichannel as SMS and branded mobile apps going mainstream finally.
I'm just trying to look at Ankit. Okay, let me read Ankit's question again. Okay, mentioned about Omnichannel is SMS and branded mobile apps getting mainstream finally. Oh yeah, Ankit, that's a phenomenal question. I'm not sure if you heard what Ali said. It's all about mobile first. Remember something, this is what our life is dependent on. We are constantly looking, scrolling, engaging, consuming, converting. Anything that you do has to be mobile first. And if you see, the reason the WhatsApp University, like they call it, exists is because now consumers and brands are interacting on WhatsApp through the verified profiles to deeply engage with the consumers, because they know that's where you're spending most of your time on. So yes, it is very, very mainstream, and also everything is mobile first. So any platform that you see is all mobile optimized. Shopify stores are all custom made for mobile, because that's where the highest amount of conversion and consumption happen. So yes, but omnichannel, also what I meant omnichannel was being in retail and in online. So not one, not as many as you can. So omnichannel means multiple marketplaces. Omnichannel means multiple geographies. Omnichannel means I'll be in retail stores and I will be online. I will be on social media. I will have a store on social media, and I'll have a Shopify store, and I will sell on Amazon. I am not gonna leave a single consumer untouched. That's the power of e-commerce. That's the power of digital. So you wanna decentralize and target them wherever possible. I hope that answers your question, Ankit.
That sounds good. So Sandro has a question, which I think applies to both Ali and Shom. So he says, for cross-border sales to regions where language and culture are different, how will you recommend one tailors the messaging and strategy for each specific market and sub-market without breaking the bank? So maybe we can head over to Ali first, because she looks at messaging.
Yeah.
Sure. So, and to piggyback off of the thought of SMS and AI, you can think of SMS as building a community, and you don't have to send a link to check out a product directly through SMS. I was recently speaking with a supplement brand, and they were just curious about the SMS process. What could that be? What if you built a community in SMS and showed up to motivate and just kept in their, in their messages, but you didn't always ask for the sale? I think that would be an interesting approach. I know on Monday, without looking at my friends and family's texts, I got 9 SMS text messages from e-commerce brands. And there's one e-commerce brand who sent me a message like, it has sent me more than one message about buy a couch. Well, I don't consume couches every week for them to send me a message that says, hey, you were looking at this couch, you should get it. So just with SMS, be careful about the message you're sending, because if your product is not very consumable, that might not be the right channel all of the time, or you might not want to directly be selling on that channel all of the time. And speaking to your point about messaging for different regions, like I said, with TikTok, if you start your TikTok account, you can run ads without breaking the bank. You can run ads to different regions by having different business managers in TikTok. And TikTok ads, you're looking at about $20 a day investment to kind of get started there. You could also look at micro influencers. So micro influencer basically means you don't have 100,000 followers, which is the average person. The average person is who's spending money on your products, right? So if you can get a strategy together, it might require cold outreach. It might require engaging with some micro influencers in the 5,000 followers, 10,000 followers range, and get yourself a template of what you could say and how you're going to reach out and how you're going to engage with them in order to potentially, you could go for a exchange of money in order for them to review or use your product. You could go for trade of product. It just depends. And the opportunities are there because now, specifically with a very shoppable and fun shopping experience on Instagram, branded content in the form of short form video, again, is actually playing a really interesting role. So what that could look like is if you partner with a micro influencer and you have your Instagram account, together you can post a reel. They can post it and you can put your brand on that as well. So you have your reels, which are performing very well right now. You have your short form video, which is performing in other places aside from just Instagram, and you have built social proof. So getting micro influencers in different regions who can kind of speak in a way and present themselves in a way that's familiar with that region would be a great approach. It's going to require some effort and kind of wrangling wet cats in terms of getting deliverables from them. So cast a wide net, see what's out there. Find a Facebook group potentially that has micro influencers in it waiting for a product to review if it's in their niche.
Sounds good. Sean, what about you? Strategy for cross borders?
Absolutely. I think Ali covered the content part so beautifully. What happens when you're trying to sell cross-border, Sandro, is that one comes that how do you automate your listings without having to worry about language barriers, custom keywords, etc. And that's where AI plays a significant role. When we do cross-border distribution, we're heavily dependent on AI. So if I'm taking a listing from the United States and publishing it in India, in UAE, in KSA, which is Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, in Japan, my automation engine is actually crawling across data sources and telling what people in those regions are searching. I'm embedding those keywords in the listing, uploading it in from a CSV file, and it's getting published in all platforms simultaneously. So Rakuten, Amazon, Shopee, Lazada, Noon in Saudi Arabia, and GCC all get similar publishing. So that's got no money involved. It's all about AI and technology, and that's what you're using to do the automation. Level one, that's how you do it. Then comes your distribution. See, once you have your content in place, your listings in place, then when you are finding a distributor to actually take your products and selling it in different geographies, that's the easier part. When you're doing the sales, when you're shipping the products, you got to be compliant with the labeling requirements. Because remember something, like United States has FDA, especially for products that are consumables, beauty, etc. India has drug license for size, CDSO. GCC has municipality, HSO. So a lot of these regions, EMEA has, which is Europe and the Middle East region, has GMP. So what happens is the certifications, etc., the compliance with that is something you've got to be cognizant of. So whichever manufacturing unit you're using to basically manufacture these products, they have to be compliant so you can be an importer or an exporter on the record, depending on what you're doing and the partnership you have. But in terms of content publishing, enough technology, and that's the beauty and power of tech, is to enable you to succeed without having to worry about barriers like language, because the integrations allow you to get data and the data allows you to do automation. And that's the beauty of AI.
That's wonderful. Thanks for flying the AI flag up high, so
it is all about that, right? You can't really do anything if the machine is not learning and throwing back intelligence.
Absolutely. You gotta, with that amount of data, artificial intelligence and machine learning is the only way to go. So last and final question from Zach. So how would you say your approach of selling of services versus products would differ? Shom, let's start with you.
Absolutely, Zach, that's a phenomenal question. So let me start by clarifying. Tangible or intangible, you're still a product. A man, like for example, Ali talking to you right now is a product. Shom talking to you right now is a product. We all are, right? Because we're all trying to pitch something. It's sometimes ourselves, like what an author does, like, Paul was talking about, his book, because he's a product. The book is a product, but he's a product too. The difference between services, solutions, or tangible product that you touch, feel, etc., is the value proposition. The value that you ultimately bring to your end consumer is what defines whether they're going to subscribe to the product or not. So that can be someone going and consuming the product directly by purchasing it on a marketplace or a Shopify store. But remember, what took them there is content which they could connect with, which articulated the value proposition. Even when you do an ad on Amazon or Walmart or eBay, you're still trying to push a value proposition. So when you're selling a service, so let's say you're talking about content management service, you're doing ad management service, listing service, whatever service you do, it ultimately has to culminate into value. And to me, it's all about conversions. At the end of the day, whether it's a direct sales conversion or bringing the consumer a little closer to the product, that's what matters. People are looking for value, and value that is tangible. So to me, whether it's a physical product or whether it's a serviceable product, it's still a product. The value proposition is what matters.
Absolutely. And Ali, to wrap us up.
Sure. Yeah. I didn't get specifics on what kind of service or digital product that might be. If it's a service that is like a local service, I would definitely look at your Google My Business listing and register your business on all like directory platforms. If it is a digital product, again, TikTok is going to be a great place to start. And you can repurpose TikTok. So what that looks like is you download it, you just use it on YouTube Shorts, use it on Instagram Reels, put it on Facebook, just repurpose the content in a way that's educate while you're making the content, if it's depending on the service and what that looks like. If it's an app, look into a content strategy with your affiliate marketing, or like, for example, if there's a tool that I personally use a lot, that's actually going to show up in my short form video content and provide my audience a way to see more about that tool. So a lot of the SaaS tools that I use, I have an affiliate link for, and if somebody asks me, how do you do X, Y, and Z? Here it is. This is actually my link for it. That's a great way to partner in terms of getting a message out there with with micro influencers. We actually all have some influence, and that's the beauty of tapping into your people who are following sub 10,000. It's low cost to entry, and people actually do want to share. I'm passionate about the tools that I use. So if you're talking about an app, a web app, that's what I would suggest. Again, I didn't hear what the service or digital product was, but Shopify does have tools for downloading products and delivering digital products. You won't be able to tag them in shops in Instagram and Facebook yet. I don't know of plans of them rolling out, but just keep in mind that you can't directly download digital products, gift cards, downloads of any kind via Meta shops right now. So you would still want to be able to promote there and get some content out there consistently. But I think with Google My Business and some short form video and affiliate marketing, that could be a strong strategy for you.
That was so useful, Alley and Shom. Well, it has been an amazing session today. Once again, I think all of us are well aware that the future of e-commerce is undoubtedly going to be full of exciting changes, innovations, and technologies for businesses, buyers, and sellers. So once again, thank you, ladies, for taking your time out today to be our panelists and for sharing your insights and educating all of us. So I hope this has been useful for everyone in the audience, and look out for our next webinar next month. I am looking forward to seeing all of you back again. Happy Tuesday, and I'll see everybody in the next webinar. Take care, everyone.
Thank you so much for hosting.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.